Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, we're talking about freezing requirements, notably using equals equals in a requirements.txt file, and how it's still possible to backdoor a version into that isn't the same as the one you froze. And then we'll talk a little bit about how to fix this, but as far as I can tell, it's not really a fixable problem. Anyway, let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm going to set up a very simple application and I'm going to install pre-commit. I'm going to freeze my requirements so that it's repeatable later on. So we're going to do that by doing virtualenv venv. I'm actually going to use a custom PyPI server locally. Yeah, that'll make this easier to demo. So we'll do pip install PyPI server. This is just a very simple HTTP server that we can run locally. And we're going to do pip download pre-commit, and we're going to put it into a wheels directory. Oh, it's --dest, yes. And if we run a PyPI server after this downloads, PyPI server, PyPI dash server, yeah, PyPI server run wheels. So this should set up a PyPI server on localhost. I think it's 8080. Oh, that's a redirect. Yeah, okay, so we have a local PyPI server. We should be able to install packages from that and then freeze our requirements and hopefully make it repeatable later. So let's actually make a source directory so that we're separate from that. And we're going to make a virtualenv here. And we're going to do via bin activate, pip install pre-commit, and we're going to use an index URL of that localhost, localhost 8080/simple. And so that's going to allow us to do this. And then we're going to freeze to a requirements file. Freeze to requirements.txt. And I'm actually going to use pip freeze -- all. That way includes pip setup tools and wheel if those were in our requirements as well. And now I'm going to blow away this virtual environment. If we look at our requirements.txt right now, you'll see that we have frozen versions for everything, including pre-commit. We've pinned this to version 2.19.0, and so we expect that when we reinstall this requirements file, we're always going to get version 2.19.0. But that's not quite true. If we clone pre-commit, I'm going to make a wheel of pre-commit, github.com/precommit/precommit. And we're going to put some malicious code into this just to demonstrate what's going on here. I'm not going to put this malicious code on PyPI, and it's not going to be super malicious. We're just going to print owned into init.py. So if we were to run pre-commit, it would print that out, just like a little demo thing here. And now we're going to make a wheel of this, pip wheel dot. And we're going to say no depth, so we don't really care about dependencies. And we're going to use a special argument to this. I think it's build arg. And we're going to set the build number. And this build number is the whole thing that makes equals equals not consistent. So if we set build number equals 1, when we make this wheel, maybe it's build opt. Build opt, okay. So we set build arg here with this build number here. We will create a new wheel, but this wheel has this special -1 on the version number here. And that -1 is a different version than 2.19.0, but pip considers it exactly the same, which is the crux of the problem. So if we copy this wheel into that wheels directory, which will automatically update our PyPI server, I believe. Curl localhost 8080/simple/precommit. Yeah, you'll see we have those two files now. Now if we go to try and reinstall these requirements from before by using -r, so we make a new virtual environment entirely, we activate that virtual environment, and we do the same pip install with the index URL. We'll actually use our frozen requirements file, -i requirements.txt. And then if we were to run pre-commit -- version after that, you'll notice that we got the malicious version installed, despite pinning the version. And this just apparently is how pip works. So it's something to look out for. Now, the only real solutions that I've seen for this that prevent this from happening is kind of two things. One being you run your own entire private PyPI index, so you control all the packages that are there. The other is to add hash validation to your installation. And hash validation in theory solves this problem. There are a few quirks with it. Notably, if somebody uploads a wheel later that isn't in your hash set, pip will fail. This might be a good thing, but it might also be, it might break your expectations. You might want to reinstall the other version. But those are kind of the only two solutions that I've seen to this. And the hash validation is kind of a pain in the butt, and running around index is a lot of work and generally not something someone is going to do for open source because you'd have to pay money to host it and do a whole bunch of stuff there. But anyway, I really think pip should change its behavior because this is kind of nuts that you can just sort of silently bypass an equals equals pin by adding a build number to something. But I don't know that that's going to happen. Anyway, hopefully you found this useful. If there are additional things that you would like me to explain, leave a comment below or reach out to me on the various platforms. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.